Alright, so now that I got the major aspects of the game startup out of the way, the bulk trades, my garrisons are set, my theater settings are done, battle settings are good for now, battle zone settings, and got a rough adjustment done to my commodities, and my research is set. These are the technologies I'm currently researching. I've added a lot of interesting effects and new technologies along the way to both slow down the AI's progression with unit specific research and technologies developed throughout World War II, as well as various effects that will gear the economy towards being more sustainable and manageable for the long term. Like this, the hospital will improve my healthcare rating by 8%. It'll bring it up by 1%, which will factor into my social spending. In other words, that now costs 1% more to satisfy, but my rating jumped up by 8%, or will jump up by 8% when that technology is completed. So I won't have to even touch that, and I'll get a boost in the healthcare rating by just researching that technology. So I won't have to make such a heavy investment into social spending to satisfy my domestic population throughout the game. It's none of it's laid in there to act as cheats or hacks for the game to make it operate without any effort, but it makes it operate with what I would call a reasonable effort for a game. Like if you put a little bit of effort, or like if you structure like a series of actions that should have a certain effect, then it will have a certain effect in the game without an excessively challenging effort to achieve those results. Nothing will work without flaw by doing nothing, or just allowing your ministers to take control of everything and not paying attention to it. But with some effort, everything is manageable, and there's nothing that is out of reach globally for any country in regard to sustainability and ability to improve their economic prospects. It's fun. It's a game. The work could be called game work. You gotta put a little bit of effort into it, but it's fun in the sense of it being a game. So, now that all my major shit's done, I'm going to try to stabilize my domestic approval by adjusting further first the domestic price of various commodities. I know I have 89,000 tons of agriculture coming in daily, so that's like 60 or 90 plus 72 is like 162 roughly. So I'm almost even with that, so I can afford to bring the cost down to about 15% markup for my domestic, or I'll bring it down to 12%, and I will make up whatever the consumption will gravitate towards based on the adjustments I just made. I'll make that up in trade as the game progresses. I know I'm close to even right now, so I can afford to play with that a little bit and not worry about depleting my reserve. My rubber, I'm very good on that. I got 3,200 tons coming in for the year, and I only use 683 tons daily, so I'm like way in the green on that. And I have that tied to my domestic populace as a consumer commodity, so lowering the cost of that will improve domestic opinion, but it will elevate the actual use to a degree. My population doesn't use too much rubber, so it won't have a dramatic effect on any variable, but it'll have some effect on every variable. Cost of timber. This is like, I find they like it to be pretty cheap. Like in reality, like I like to go to Home Depot and be able to like say, I'm going to buy some wood and build something, and it's not going to cost me my life savings to do it. So that's how I view timber use in the game, and how I feel about offering that to the population. I can buy it everywhere. Everybody has, or a lot of these countries, Scandinavia, Russia, America, Canada, they all have a lot of timber to offer. So it's not that hard to compensate for a deficit in my actual use. Right there, I'm up 23,000 more tons daily. I already have 43,000 tons coming in daily, so I'm now up to 66,000 tons. That was 33, correct? Daily coming in, so I'm producing 24,000 tons daily. So I domestic, or within Germany, I'm in a deficit of 3,000, but I've got 66,000 tons coming in, so I've got like 63,000 ton surplus. I can afford to drop that price even lower yet, and then on top of that, I'm going to drop my production output to 50%, which will free up workforce employees, so I don't get the message of we've reached a condition of nearly full employment, blah blah blah. So I just dropped that 50%, so I'm only going to produce around 12,000 tons of timber a day. The rest I'll acquire through external trade, and I'll still offer a great price to my population. They'll be happy about that, and they'll also be happy because it should affect this, but it won't. It might. It should have a positive reception for people that care. Lowering the output of timber produced from within a country should have positive impact in many cases in regard to environmental investment. it's healthy to harvest timber, but not to the point where you're deforesting primary forests within any country. All right, so that's good. Petroleum, I'm going to drop this down to 50% domestic price, actually 44%, and I'm going to drop my production because I've got a lot of petroleum coming in now as well. That's going to cost me, because a lot of my petroleum production comes from synthetic plants. It's going to cost me a lot less electric, a lot less money to run the plants, and my population is going to produce more goods because it'll cost them less to get to work. Lowering the cost of petroleum will increase the efficiency of the workforce, and other variables that are tied to that within the web of the economy. But yeah, lowering the cost of petroleum will improve the outputs of various industries, and it'll also improve the smiles on people's faces. So lowering that is a good thing, the production of it and the cost of it for the consumer in my country. Coal, this is going to go up due to everything I just did over here on these resources. My production output's going to go up, and I also have 57,000 tons coming in, minus 20,000 tons daily going to Italy. So I got 37,000 tons surplus. I can afford to drop that price as well. This is a little bit more important to the population than petroleum is at this stage in the game. So I'm going to drop that price a little bit lower because this is more of an essential commodity in 1936, as opposed to petroleum kind of just coming into household use in the 1930s. It wasn't really a heavily... if I could drop this number, which I'm going to try to again at some point, if I could drop this number lower, it'd be great, because that would be more accurate to balance for the year of 1936. There wasn't a whole lot of petroleum used in 1936. If you look at a chart, the petroleum used in the 20s was very low. Petroleum used by the average household in the 1930s was still very low, but a little bit higher. And then it skyrocketed in the 40s, and it continued that trend up until like it peaked in like the the 70s or 80s, and then it kind of plateaued off to the present day. And now it's actually because of our population growth, it's still trending upwards slightly, but that's just because there's more people on the earth, not because it's commonly used. Cars are more efficient. There's alternative means to energy. There's solar powered energy. There's wind powered energy. So petroleum is used significantly less on an individualized basis. It's just the fact that the global population continues to expand, which continues to make that number overall trend upwards, although it's significantly less per household than it was 25, 30, and more so 40 years ago. Alright, petroleum is good for now, coal is good for now. I'm going to keep that at 100% production because that's a valuable commodity that will increase in market value as the game progresses, especially when the wars break out. I'm one of the biggest producers of coal in the world, so that'd be great for me. Iron ore, I've got like 10,375 tons coming in of this daily, and it's expensive to produce, and this is something I've military goods are produced from ore, industrial goods, petroleum, timber, and rubber. I put a heavier emphasis on ore and it lowered the emphasis on petroleum and timber for military goods, as well as I think I left industrial goods pretty much the same, and rubber is pretty much the same, but I did play with the use of petroleum and timber in the production of military goods. So now military goods are produced primarily from iron ore. So iron ore is a very valuable commodity now, and it will become in short supply as the war progresses. Although it looks like I have an abundance of it at this point in time, that number will skyrocket as the war wages on. Not skyrocket, but it'll be significantly higher than what I'm able to produce domestically. So I really like to stock up on that, which is why I have almost 11,000 tons of it coming in daily, despite my ability to produce at this point in time more than my actual demand. That's because I'm only producing 40% of my military goods capacity. I got my industry goods down to 60% capacity. If I shot always up to 100%, that number would go way up. So you don't want to get too comfortable with that. You want to keep that number going up. So I'm going to keep my production at 65%, and I'm going to try to get one more big trade partner for iron ore leading into 1937, so that way I can really bring my stockpile up, and it won't have too much of a heavy impact on the rest of my infrastructure and my ability to produce other commodities. The 65% production capacity for that is good. I'm going to leave that at 100%, and I'm going to drop the domestic price down to 15%, because the domestic population doesn't use too much electric in the 30s, but they still do use it, and it's not heavily used enough that I feel as though charging a high markup on it is reasonable, and it also is necessity to a degree in the 1930s to modern living, modern civilization. It's very necessitative as a resource to continued improvement of human existence on Earth. We, of course, we could live without electricity. We did so for many hundreds of thousands of years, but it's not better. It's not a better way to live. It's doable. It's not better. It's not going to improve the quality of human life. So electricity, in a sense, is essential in regard to a resource that is required for a reasonably good standard of living in modern society. Consumer goods, I'm going to drop that down to 30% for now. I don't want to shoot that number too high, the actual use, but that's the production is going to go up with the lower costs of petroleum and coal and rubber and all that other shit. So I know the production is going to go up, and the actual use is probably going to go up, but I think the production is going to go up a little bit higher than the actual use, so I should be good with dropping that to 30%. And that'll also improve my domestic approval, which will improve my outputs of every industry regardless. Happy people go to work happy and do better work than miserable people that don't want to be at work. Industry goods at 60%, that's good. I got like almost 2,000 tons of that coming. I'm going to drop that a little lower to further improve my electricity efficiency at this point in time. I can rely on external trade for industrial goods. When the world's not at war, there's an abundance of everything. It's very easy and reasonably priced to run a country where you could more or less not really be able to sustain your country on your own on paper, but in reality, you can buy everything you need from other countries for a reasonable market price, and that's the reality of the world we live in. And the other reality is that when there's major wars occurring on Earth, like World War II, like where almost every country in the world is involved in a war, then resources are still abundant, but they're being heavily distributed to various divisions, like the military and whatnot, that could be considered very essential during such points in time, such as major global conflicts, as when the military is an essential force, and then they become the essential recipient of these resources to support that war effort and get the job done, and make sure that we can bring the world back to being a settled and peaceful place as quickly and reasonably effectively as possible. Alright, that's done. So, that will be good now for at least a couple of months. I won't have to touch that, and I can get on to making plans. Things I like. I'm not really going to do much of a heavy military build-up yet. I'm going to establish various, or they're already established, but I'm going to improve the layout of my production. I'm going to add an additional production facility. To Henschel, or Wilmot. Henschel's over here. It's Henschel. Good. This is where the Tiger tanks are produced, Tiger 1s. I believe this is where the original Panzer IIs and Panzer IVs, the Panzer A, 4A was produced in Wilmot, I believe. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to produce a couple of tank divisions. Nothing crazy. I gotta keep this secret at this point in the game. I got plenty of ones. Build some 2As. Typically how I build sets of 6. That's what I consider a quote-unquote tank division. Make-believe world. Chucky's world. I'll do half of that for the Panzer 1s, and that'll be a new division. That'll be 612, 315 units, and I'll usually accompany that with its own supply detachment. Pontoon bridge crossing rivers, and they'll get an anti-aircraft attachment as well, and that'll be a tank division for what I call tank division. I'm going to build infantry divisions to start. I'm going to do my mountain divisions here, I'm going to do the divisions that will man the Siegfried line will come from here, here. Artillery, towed. Naval forces and coastal Atlantic wall forces will come from here. SS divisions. East Prussian forces mixed. I'm going to establish land production here. Here. And I'll probably add another one to Augustdorf. So that way I can staff the Atlantic Wall with a mixed array of forces, and also have excess that I'll station more or less in Schleswig area and Hamburg, that will act as the first half of my Scandinavian northern armies up here. And I'll have another garrison over by Rostock, and I always take stragglers during the invasion of Poland that I have to repair, and I send them here and here to repair. I'm going to establish Army Group headquarters here, my Pomeranian HQ. There actually was a real HQ in this vicinity, which is why I like to put it like right here, like an Army Group headquarters. Anyway, I'll send straggler forces from the invasion of Poland here to repair, and then I'll usually piece that back together into whatever I can as far as formations, and combine them with what I have over here and here, and then I'll send them north to Scandinavia when the time comes. Most of my infantry divisions for the invasion of Poland will come from here and here and here. Army Group South will be made up of existing units that I already have, and small detachments that I add to it along the way, and that'll be furthered by the completion of the invasion of Poland, and then I kind of just I send supporting units over here to assist with the invasion of France, and then I restructure Army Group South, Center, and North prior to Barbarossa with new units and whatnot. And that's a whole different ball game at that point. But anyway, that's my general approach to playing Supreme Ruler 1936 Remastered, and that is how I slowly articulate this masterpiece of a game into something I enjoy doing. It's pastime very much, and learn a lot about history along the way. A lot. You know, a lot. Chuck.